clamp down on reckless road users as the festive season gets into high gear. Police increase visibility at shopping malls across the country. All passengers and crew on board a hijacked plane have been released. A very happy Friday to you. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Duduzile Ramela.
A very good evening. I'm William Lahong.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct.
You can also track our main stories using the following hashtags: holiday traffic, Libyan plane.
KwaZulu-Natal is bracing for the Christmas rush. 179 people have died on the province's roads this month. The latest incident happened this morning where 3 people were killed between Harrismith and Van Rieenen on the N3. Officials are clamping down on reckless motorists, ensuring that travellers are safe.
KwaZulu-Natal's roads are congested. Over 1,600 vehicles are passing the Maran Hill Toll Plaza to Durban every hour. Since the beginning of December, over 70,000 cars have been stopped and checked. Just over 760 vehicles have been impounded, with 149 drivers arrested for drunken driving.
We were in Bethlehem last night, and the roads, people were driving very, very well on the roads. Fortunately, we never saw one accident, and well, I just hope that people actually follow the road rules.
One of police's main focus is car roadworthiness. The checks are conducted in conjunction with other law enforcement officials to also deal with all kinds of crime.
We are really optimistic that we'll be yielding the results that are envisaged through the roadblocks that we are conducting, and we have intensified our visibility on the streets, our visibility in malls, in townships, everywhere.
eThekwini, with its popular beaches, remains the province's center of attraction. Over 1.2 million visitors are expected to inject just over 2.4 billion rand to the city's economy. 8,000 job opportunities will be created.
We are anticipating to get more than 1.2 million visitors to come to the city. And I'm quite certain that we'll get more than 1.3 million visitors coming to the city, and the spend is estimated at more than 2.5 billion rands.
Kaunda says they are not only targeting road safety, but also shopping malls. Tuba Vilani, Maran Hill.
Police will be highly visible this festive season in a preemptive strike against crime. Over the last few years, more robberies have been a growing concern. Authorities say they're satisfied no major incidents have been reported thus far during the holiday season.
Police want to be proactive in their response to potential more heists over the festive season. In the last few years, Gauteng has become a hotspot, but police say it has implemented key changes to stay on top of the problem.
We agreed that first of all, what we need to do, we need to improve our response time, and we need to improve our communications. And we intensified also our operations. We deployed different law enforcement agencies in the malls.
Police say no more robberies have been reported in KwaZulu-Natal or Gauteng. In Cape Town on Wednesday, there was a cash-in-transit heist at a mall. At the same time, an attempted robbery at a clothing store at another shopping centre. Police say they're working closely with private security at malls, but are urging people to take responsibility for their own safety.
When the people are going to the ATMs or to the banks, they must look for people who are just loitering, standing around there for some time. They must look for people who are following them. They must please check around the kids. They must not, we've got the challenges with the children, because remember that people are going to the mosque with children. The children must always be under the care and control of the parents.
Other advice includes ensuring vehicles are locked and not leaving valuables in view. Teresa Taylor, Johannesburg.
1.3 million visitors are expected to head to KwaZulu-Natal this festive season. Occupancy rates at guest houses and hotels are currently at around 100%. Despite the increase in tourism to the area, there are concerns over the water restrictions due to the ongoing drought there.
The December holidays are a money spinner for Durban's hospitality sector. But this year, it's presenting a challenge.
We've been requested to reduce our water consumption by at least 15%, which we've endeavoured to do. It's not always easy, especially with a high turnover of guests, because the room has to be cleaned and the linen and towels and everything must be replaced. So that is a challenge.
Guest houses and hotels in KZN have been severely affected by the drought over the past few months, with some North Coast establishments complaining that their water supply had been intermittently cut for several hours. The ongoing drought has forced many within the sector to invest in water-saving tools. The Chartwell Guest House prides itself on being eco-friendly and harvests rainwater.
We've connected our guttering and down pipes to a hose pipe, garden hose pipe, which we then run into the pool.
The Umhlanga-based establishment has also found a unique way to reduce the amount of water that is wasted after heavy rains. It has submerged two 2,000-litre water tanks with pipes connected to it to collect the rainwater. It then slowly filters the water into the soil to water the surrounding plants. Guests and staff at the establishment are also educated on how to save water.
We provide tissues and face cloths and ask the guests to make use of those. We also ask the guests not to flush the toilet unless it's necessary, and to switch off the tap whilst brushing their teeth or shaving, and also to keep their showers short and to not have deep baths.
The Federated Hospitality Association of South Africa says most establishments in the province already implement water-saving measures. Judith Subin, Durban.
The National Student Financial Aid Scheme will be working through the holidays to tackle the high volume of student applications. For the first time ever, the office will be processing all financial aid applications and dealing directly with students. So far, over 200,000 applicants have been received, but students who missed the November deadline can still apply from the 9th of January next year.
All work and no play for these employees as they slog throughout the holidays to ensure that students make it to university next year. The workload of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme has increased this year, since processing of financial aid is no longer in the hands of universities. The office is currently experiencing high loads of both manual and online applications.
We've received more than 233,000 applications, and these applications mainly are from students that are applying for the first time. Over 104,000 were received manually. About 133,000 applications which came through an online system.
In an attempt to deal with the high number of students, a new system called eSbucks has been introduced, making payments for food, accommodation and other allowances simpler.
We introduced a new cell phone-based technology which allows our students to transact using their own cell phone.
Despite the centralization of the application process, Mama Bolo says there are still some challenges.
We had a couple of challenges such as fraud and corruption. Our students that have applied for NSFAS, they would give their secret code or PIN, which we use for eSbucks.
But he says the new system will help to tackle fraudsters. Artie Narsi, Cape Town.
Further afield now, and two Libyan hijackers seeking asylum in Europe to establish a pro-Gaddafi party have surrendered following a tense standoff lasting more than 4 hours. This after forcing a plane to land with 118 people on board in Malta. The Airbus A320 was flying in Libyan airspace when it was diverted to Malta. Two hijackers threatened to blow up the plane. Italian police say the Berlin Christmas market attack suspect has been killed in Milan. Anis Amri's family and friends insist he was innocent. On Monday, a large truck plowed through a crowd, killing 12 people. The Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for the attack. Police started looking for Amri after finding an identity document under the driver's seat of the truck used in the attack. However, authorities have stressed he's just a suspect and not necessarily the truck driver. Thank you, William. 3 people have been killed in a collision between a truck and a car on the N3 outside Harrismith. Both vehicles burst into flames. The occupants of the car were trapped and pronounced dead on the scene. The truck driver managed to get out of the vehicle. Motorists are advised to be careful on the roads. And at least 36 prisoners have been injured following a fire at Lioko prison north of Johannesburg. Those critical have been transported to various hospitals in the city. Paramedics have treated prisoners for smoke inhalation and burn wounds on the scene. If you've missed any of the stories we're tracking for you, you can of course find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct. Or you can head on over to our website. That's eNCA.com/direct. Your business news and your weekend weather forecast after this. Money Matters. National Treasury says the illegal movement of money out of South Africa is costing the country dearly. President Jacob Zuma has referred the Financial Intelligence Center Amendment Bill back to the National Assembly because of concerns over its constitutionality. The legislation could be the nail in the coffin that stops this practice.
Funding development in African countries is often hampered by ineffective tax collection. One of the reasons is a complex form of tax evasion known internationally as illicit financial flows. Experts say its impact on developing countries like South Africa is immense because it steals revenues meant for socio-economic growth and development. The FICA bill will make it easier for South Africa to get information from other countries if there are suspicious financial activities.
Often when there are, say, illicit flows, it's or criminal activity, often those in power can get around the law. So that's why those amendments are quite critical to fighting illicit flows and dealing with illegal activity.
The draft legislation will require a senior bank official to approve the accounts of prominent influential persons and oblige banks to establish the source of funds as well as monitor these accounts on a regular basis. Earlier this week, Mineral Resources Minister Mosebenzisi Zwane said a forensic probe relating to illicit financial flows from South Africa could be on the cards for next year. Experts say more investigative capacity is needed to track and trace illicit money flows.
So I think the biggest challenge is, can you really recoup monies that have left your country and gone, by firms that are legitimizing sort of their tax evasion activities in inverted commas? If you could recoup that money, it would depend on your country and its ability to sort of distribute the resources equitably through the fiscus. The bigger issue is you would want to have more preventative measures to prevent it from leaving.
New tax mechanisms are expected to be introduced from next year that will allow authorities to know which South Africans have bank accounts with many overseas countries. John Bailey, Pretoria.
Let's see how the markets perform today. Check in with the Weather Centre. Here's Candice.
A cold front brought in much-needed rainfall for the Western Cape on Friday, and it brings in rainfall over the southern part of South Africa overnight and into Saturday morning. We're also expecting windy conditions over the southern part of South Africa. That starts to clear out from the west but spreads up the east coast on the second part of the day. Cooler temperatures are forecast over the central and southeastern parts, with most thunder showers expected over the northeastern and eastern part of South Africa, with widespread thunderstorms mainly from Mpumalanga on Saturday night. Here's that cooler weather for KwaZulu-Natal, only 22 for Pietermaritzburg. Thunderstorms are expected over the interior with the possibility of rain along the coast. Dry as we head towards the Eastern Cape, still warm over the interior, although we can expect a cooler day on Saturday. Partly cloudy at 23 degrees for East London, with some light morning rain for Port Elizabeth and Grahamstown, as well as all the way through to Mossel Bay at 21. We keep in the low 20s as we head along the coast, partly cloudy at 21 degrees for Cape Town, but with the highs heading into the mid-20s over the interior. cooler weather is forecast for the Northern Cape with a dry day, 32 for Uppington and Prieska. Sutherland partly cloudy at 6 and 20. Mostly sunny at 31 for Bloemfontein, 28 for Bethlehem and Harrismith with isolated thundershowers. Isolated thundershowers also extend through to the northwest with a mostly cloudy day, 33 for Mahikeng, Zeerust and Rustenburg. Thunderstorms are expected throughout Limpopo with an uncomfortably hot day. We'll see most of that thunderstorm activity over the southern parts, just shy of 40 for Bombela with heatwave conditions continuing, and widespread thunderstorms are expected overnight. On Saturday, we're expecting a high of 30 degrees for eMalahleni as well as for much of Gauteng. 33 for Pretoria with a mostly cloudy day and up to a 60% chance of thunderstorms throughout Gauteng. On Sunday, which is also Christmas Day, we can expect sunny and hot weather in the west, but with cloudy, wet and much cooler temperatures, especially over the northeastern and eastern parts. It'll be a similar day on Monday with a cloudy, wet and cold day over the eastern part of South Africa, but with a fine and dry day in the west. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you, Candice. After the break, Christmas has come early for over 700 homeless people in Cape Town. Christmas came early this year for over 700 homeless people in Cape Town.
Volunteers organised a free lunch, spreading some festive season joy to those less fortunate.
Deck the streets with plates of scrumptious roast chicken and potatoes. Cape Town's homeless were in for a treat this festive season, with a hearty meal provided by a local restaurant and well wishers. Many of the recipients are refugees looking for work and opportunities, but found themselves on the street and with no exit plan. According to census data, South Africa has an estimated 1.7 million foreigners, most of them from countries like Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Zambia and Mozambique. An estimated 7,000 of them are in Cape Town alone.
I left Mozambique to come to Cape Town because of jobs, and I was working at the very first time I came here, because I wanted to work as a I wanted to do a catering job. I wanted to do hotel management and work at the big restaurants. I had that dream, but then I started a few restaurants and then I ended up in drugs. So I started using drugs and then I lost a lot of things. I ended up in prison, come out of prison. I don't have a place, I can't afford the accommodation right now. And I'm staying in the street for a couple of years and I haven't get hold of my family, nothing. And I'm crying every day just to go back to Mozambique, and I can't even afford to go back.
Refugees have in the past been victim to attacks, and residents say they hope this act of kindness could in some small way help heal relations.
A reminder of your top stories before we say goodbye. Clamp down on reckless road users as the festive season gets into high gear. Police increase visibility at shopping malls across the country. All passengers and crew on board a hijacked plane have been released. And that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team.
To share your views, you can send an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
And that's my lot for the year. Have a blessed Christmas and a safe transition into the new year. Bye-bye.